Kelly Carter here in beautiful Cabo San Lucas with the cast and director of Jumanji: The Next Level.
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking. Ready to get going? All right, well, how about I do an introduction to people that really don't need introductions, but for the sake of formality, if you'll allow me. We're going to start, of course, with director Jake Kasdan. Welcome.
Woo. All right.
Jack Black. Karen, Karen Gillan, Aquafina, Danny DeVito, Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, and of course Danny Glover. Thank you guys for being here, and thank you for turning in a really phenomenal and really funny film. Today we're going to do a mix of questions, both from myself and from Jumanji superfans that are submitting questions across all social media platforms.
Yes!
Wow.
Yes!
Right. Alrighty.
Good.
Well, the first question, of course, is going to go right to you, Jake. You know, the first film was such an incredible success, and it's clear that you really wanted to elevate the stakes in the film. Where did your process begin, and where did you kind of start with everything?
Well, you know, we had such a good time making the first movie, and when it became clear that there was an opportunity to make another one, we were all really excited about it, and also felt like, well, we got to figure out something we can get equally excited about and figure out a way to raise the stakes and sort of raise our game in every way.
Yeah.
You know, we realized that one thing we could do that almost no other movie could do is we could bring back this same phenomenal cast that I'm sitting here with, but they could all be doing something different than what they were doing last time.
Yeah.
And that was what sort of opened the door to like, oh wow, this could be really great. And close after that was this idea that we could have people of all different ages play the game, and we could reflect that, and we could have people who have a completely different perspective than the kids from the first movie. And what followed that was the thought that we should get Danny DeVito and Danny Glover to join us. And incredible that here we are.
About that.
That added some fun to the film, that's for sure. We're going to get into that a little bit later, but you know, I want to ask, you know, Dwayne, Kevin, Jack, Karen, you guys are all returning characters. What were you most looking forward to coming back to this to the sequel?
Well, I get me. Okay, I'll go. Nunchucks. I get to use nunchucks now, and it's so much fun, and I can't believe I have that skill set now. It's wild, and I hope that I get to use it in real life.
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to be more intimidating. Is it working?
It's working.
What do you got, Jack?
What?
What were you most looking forward to? Returning to the world of Jumanji, entering this
I was
world.
looking at just getting the gang back together, and you know, we had so much fun making the first one, just hanging out on and off the set. I wanted to get back to that magic.
Okay.
And working with Jake, and see if we could make lightning strike twice. And I was looking forward to some new locations too. We had a lot of exciting. When you read the script, you go, "Ooh, we're going to go to the snow. We're going to go to the dunes. We're going to go to the desert. We're going to it's not just the jungle." And I was looking forward to all those adventures.
Love that. Kevin?
I would love to be silly and do something that was just asshole-like right
Please
now, but
don't.
I can't. I'm going to answer it honestly. I think the most exciting thing about coming back was knowing that we're in this world that we've created. And what we can do, you know, is so special from an action-adventure comedy perspective. So for me, it was just playing on that green screen.
Yeah.
Because I think those are the most interesting days. Nothing is there, and you know, you're literally with your director who has all of this in his head. We read the script, but when it comes to really painting a picture, Jake is, they're coming, they jump. And then after that, this stuff comes out. We're just standing on the bridge. But I think those are, for me, that's like the most exciting stuff, knowing that.
Upsettingly accurate.
Just playing in this world of action and adventure.
That's great.
I would say for me, it would be the, as Jake was alluding to, or actually as he said, is, you know, there's a magic about Jumanji that we've been able to enjoy. And that magic is that, you know, when you understand and the audiences start to understand this idea, and we understood it too as we were putting the second one together, like the conceit is, wow, we could it's kind of like endless, the characters you could play or who can come in and embody these avatars. So for me personally, you know, to be able to embody this guy from Asbury Park. What are you talking about? What do you mean?
What are you saying?
What are you saying? I don't have a ladder. What did this guy got? Huh? I mean, it was truly a joy.
I love that. Aquafina, I have a question for you, from social media, and that question is.
Nice.
I know, right? I know what just happened.
I mean, social media, man. I mean, we're talking deep questions, right? Yeah, really.
Because you know, I'm like, is it appropriate to read this handle? I'm not going to read this handle, but the question is, would you survive in Jumanji yourself?
Ooh.
Myself. Okay, so I've played video games in which you get dropped in and then like and it's kind of a contest to who can survive the last, right?
Yeah.
And I sometimes, like maybe once, survived the last because I will go into a different part of town, like a more secluded part of town, hang out by the trees, pick berries, you know, graze. Like that's what I would do. So I think in that way, I would have a great time in Jumanji. I set up shop, maybe get into wood carving. Yeah, I think that'd be great.
I think they call that cheating.
Is it making the best use of your time?
Danny Glover and Danny DeVito, your characters add an additional humor and heartwarming element to this film. Can you share a little bit about what you wanted to convey through your friendship?
Oh, well, Danny and I have known each other for a while, but it's the second time we worked together. Yeah, but we get along really well, and what we wanted to convey is, I think from my perspective, was a deep friendship that is kind of has a lot of baggage. And something that's blocked, and the script gave us that, and you know, I really care for him, and I know he cares for me, even though we never speak to each other.
How I wish me and Kevin were.
You know, one of the things was so, for me, just imagining the relationship that we had as owners of this this restaurant, you know, and the kind of the batter and everything else that go back and forth between us.
Yeah.
It's just imagining that in that relationship, and it says that he's the one that knows everything. I'm always have to telling him, no, it's not that way. It's this way. It's that way. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of sense of it added another level when we meet after not talking for a while for the reasons that we'll find out in the movie and everything else. But when we met, and that was really beautiful. You know, I think that and just the juxtaposition of who we are and our both personalities and everything else, which was beautiful as well. You know, and besides, I know Jake since he was 12 years old.
That's right.
Wow.
Wow.
We might need that story. How did you guys first meet? What was this 12-year-old story?
Well, my dad makes movies, and he made a couple with Danny. And so I've known Danny since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And for the record, for the millions on Facebook, Jake's dad wrote Star Wars.
Yeah. Right, exactly. In case you were wondering, you know.
Empire, right?
Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back and
Raiders of the Lost
Return
Ark.
of the Jedi. And,
legend.
That's
Just
right.
information that you just never talk to me about.
We got to know each other.
Really
But
blown
Danny
away.
is in Silverado, which is a movie that that my dad made, and another one called Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
So Danny has loomed large in my life and in my movie life forever.
Yeah.
As absolutely
Very
a
cool.
towering figure, and to have him join us here in our Jumanji world was truly something pretty fantastic.
I love that. Thanks for sharing that story, guys. This next fan question comes from Josh Harris, and it's for Jack Black, and it requires a visual aid. I'm going to hand this clipboard to you and ask you.
Can you pass
His
this to me,
question
Jake?
is,
Here's your clipboard.
how does my costume look to you?
Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm looking in a mirror.
It is.
Can you see that on Facebook?
Oh, wow.
You zoom in
Wow,
there?
that really
That is good.
That's
I had the wrong glasses on. I thought.
Well done,
Tell the
Josh.
difference.
Well played.
Good job.
Well done, Josh.
Good job.
Josh.
Next question coming in is coming from Edward Sanchez on Twitter, and it's for Dwayne and Kevin, and he wants to know what was it like to act like Danny DeVito and Danny Glover.
Take a champ.
Well, for me, I think it was everything. I told Danny actually earlier today, I was like, what am I gonna watch, or how am I going to study to get some mannerisms that I'm going to come and bring to the table? And it was Lethal Weapon 4. I probably watched Lethal Weapon 4 like 3 times and was going back and forth with a lot of the things that he was doing, and locked into that, and just chose the side of his raspy voice and ran with it. And after seeing his and Danny's scenes in the beginning of the movie before we came to work, it solidified the choices that I made. And you know, it's an honor overall. Something that it's very special, and I'm lucky to do. Or to have done.
And did it great, by the way.
Yeah, he did a great
good.
job.
I mean,
Thank you.
you know, I called him the moment
Yeah,
I
he
saw the
did it.
movie.
He
and
did it really good.
He
He
did
was
good,
good.
yeah.
He did a
Not-
good
not-
job.
not-
He
he
did a
job,
really
but not
good
as
job.
good as-
No, I don't know how you. Yeah, I don't know how.
The kid from Aspen.
He's a guy. He did it. He
did-
worked
he did
on
what
it.
he had
He
to
did
do.
very good. It was good.
It's a big difference.
I don't know. You know, I mean, I don't know how you. I know. You know, you and I. We talked
we
a little
did
bit.
a
We
thing.
get
We talked a
together
little
and we
bit,
talked.
yes.
You know,
We
and
spent some
we
time
spent some
together.
time together.
It was the
really,
best, by
really
the
a
way.
lot of
You
You
fun.
told me that
Embodied
Danny
it.
didn't make
And I-
time for you.
No, I
You
told
told
Danny
me.
he made time for me, and I made time for
No, I
Danny.
did. We did.
You told
We
me
did.
that you were just FaceTiming me.
I love it. I love this.
But he was
Guys
honestly,
are
it was
at it
and
all
it
the
was an
time.
honor.
So yeah.
And by the way, as you can tell, and as everybody out there knows in the world, DeVito is such a genius, and in terms of, he's very unique and one of a kind in terms of his comedy, in terms of his
1000%.
cadence and his nuance and just how he is. So it was like a challenge, and of course I trusted our great director to help guide me on that and what we were able to do, and I had a terrific partner here as we were kind of going back and forth. So.
Yeah.
A true, like Kevin, a true honor.
Okay.
I love just
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
I love you.
See, I love you.
I love you too. I love you too. I want to change my seat. I'm gonna move. I think I'm gonna go on that side.
All of
No,
the heart emojis.
it was
But
so.
how did you were
What?
no?
Did I what? Yeah, where
you know
am
the
I?
thing. There it is.
Okay, there it is. I know exactly. No, I really do. You know, the whole idea of. I know you didn't ask me a question, but I'm going to talk anyway. The idea is that the idea of it, like I know that everybody was talking with Jack. Everybody's talking about all the great places that they go, and Kevin was saying, I was so enamored. I couldn't wait to go into the bedroom and the kitchen. It was so exciting. Yeah. I thought, Jumanji. I'm going to be in Jumanji, and I'm going to go. And where am I going to be? I'm going to be in a bedroom, and I got a doorway. I got a restaurant. It was really like
And a
I'm telling-
basement.
It's
Don't forget
so
the basement.
challenging. And don't forget the Jack. Thank you for. And Jake. I want to appreciate. Bringing me into the basement, it was like amazing. I got this. I'll never forget it. Yeah.
Sounds like it was an awesome experience. Glad that happened.
It was an awful. Yeah.
Aquafina, what was your relation to the first film, and how was it jumping into becoming one of the core parts of this next level of the game?
I was really obsessed with every Jumanji movie that came out, including the first one, the very first one, which I watched when I was a kid, I was a huge fan of the last one, and I came into this group kind of as a fangirl of these guys, and it was, they welcomed me in. It was a very easy transitioning process because they're good people, and it was also really cool to watch them kind of pick up where they left off, and yeah, it's a really good group.
And then I might just add, she knocked it out of the park like
Yes.
crazy.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
this
Thank you.
group that had been working together for a couple of years, and then Aquafina steps in and just steps right up and is right there with them. And
Yeah.
it was a pretty fantastic thing
Thanks,
to see.
Jake.
Awesome. Here's another super fan question. Comes from Gillian's Galaxy on Twitter, and it's to Karen.
Gillan's
Gillan-
Galaxy?
Gillan's Galaxy.
Gillian's Galaxy?
I
hope
don't
it's
know
not
about Gillian.
I think it is Gillian's
Gillian.
Galaxy.
Okay, big fan. They don't know my name.
It's to Karen, and she wants to know, did your roles as Nebula and Amy help prepare you for your role as Ruby?
I mean, the sadist Nebula, not so much. But the action part of it, for sure, prepared me for this. Like, Martha, you know, Ruby Roundhouse is a demanding physical role. But no, she's pretty different. She's pretty removed from the other characters. Martha is quite like nerdy and socially awkward, so I got to use those parts of my natural personality combined with punching, which is kind of like Nebula.
Right. I love that. Jake, I think this one is for you from Facebook, Sarah from Facebook, and she wants to know from this movie, how much time has passed since Welcome to the Jungle, and does it take place within a few months after the previous film or longer?
That's a good question.
Wow.
I would say it takes place pretty much, it's about a year, a little less than a year later. It's pretty much a continuation of that story, and we're rejoining those kids as they're coming home for Christmas break from the various places they've been at school and traveling around, and that's where we join our heroes again.
Okay. Okay.
Basically the same amount of time as since the last movie came out. We're still in kind of like real time, right? No.
Real time?
Never mind. Next question.
Thanks for that.
Really?
Funny you should speak up, because the next question is for both you and Dwayne, and it comes from Strange Fruit 42 on Instagram, who wants to know The Rock and Nacho tag team or feud.
Oh, come on, Jack.
We've never even talked about a Rock Nacho collab.
No, I think it's got to be a tag team.
Oh
I'm
my
gonna recommend tag team.
Yeah, dude, we're definitely on the same team. Oh yeah.
I will-
No, 100%. 100%.
No, tag team. I'm going to recommend.
I'm gonna recommend tag team, Jack. Just to be fair, Jack, let's recommend tag team.
Here's another question from Twitter from Caleb, and it's for the Dannies, and it's, if in real life you had the chance to go into the Jumanji game, which avatar would you pick and why?
Oh. Oh, yeah. Well, you know, I've always, you know, yeah, I think, yeah, absolutely. It'd be my, for sure.
Okay.
No, I
But
short
you know,
bread.
but not for the muscles, or for the. It's for the.
No, for the intelligence
Yeah.
and the depth.
For the smolder.
For the depth and the smolder.
Don't forget the smoke.
No, you know, yeah. Yeah,
Stupid
what about
choice.
Yeah, really.
Oh, really?
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
See,
Okay.
we were born to.
Okay.
See, this is like really.
And what's the
Would you
why
pick
for
Kevin?
that?
Yeah, I
What's the
would
why?
pick him.
You would pick Kevin?
Definitely.
And what's the
Definitely.
what's the why for Kevin?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's something about
Charm.
It's
I don't
something
know
about
either.
seeing. You know, it's something about seeing yourself in some ways, and then wishing some of the things that you had the courage to do. That I feel he has the courage to do.
Yeah.
In terms of, I watched him. You know, we were just talking about another film, but I watched him that he has the courage to do, and I think that.
Man.
It's amazing,
You know, that
man.
really.
What a
yeah.
compliment.
No,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable.
No, that was
That's
you
why I
know,
said Danny's answer was stupid. I don't think he thought
Yeah.
it through.
Tell you, man. No, I mean it.
I think if you had thought it through,
It's okay.
you could have made the
I know,
same
it's okay.
choice, whatever.
No,
Okay,
no,
yeah.
I'm.
He wanted to tell you go. Sorry, I tell
Oh, you got it. Yeah, you got my back. I know.
Aquafina and Karen, since Bethany turned into a horse, if you had to turn into an animal, what would it be?
Please, Karen.
Oh,
Yes?
I
Gosh,
would love
I
to
don't
be
know.
a sea turtle
Okay.
because they basically are just floating, like they're really old. They can be very,
man.
very, and they have great. They're limber.
They're basically immortal, right? I mean, they live
What?
for hundreds of years.
Yeah, and
Do
they
you want that though?
A s- Yeah, sea
Well,
turtles.
just floating
I
in
like
the
that.
ocean. Yeah.
I like a sea turtle because they lay their eggs on the beach.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I love doing that. Yeah.
You know,
Day.
and then you gotta be a hell of a turtle to get, you know, those little things to get back in the water without the birds to get your ass. Whoop! You gotta have a lot of, you got skills.
That is a downside.
I can't
Zigzags.
decide between meerkat, because those are fun,
Okay.
hopping around, or an ostrich,
Okay.
because those can run fast.
Yeah.
And they're deadly.
And
Yeah.
Deadly.
you know what, I choose
Spoiler
that one,
alert.
ostrich, for sure.
Oh, and they got big eggs.
I love to see,
Why
I
am
love
I
to see you
obsessed
as
with
an
eggs? I don't know.
Should put a little wig on that ostrich.
I don't know. They're deadly.
So-
Oh, Jesus.
Thank you for those answers. I have one last question before I close it out, and of course, it's for Jake. It's a good one.
All right.
I heard that Kevin really enjoys your animal impressions, particularly your mandrill impression. Can we see what that looks like?
Wait, what?
Can we see what that looks like?
I never even Kevin has to do an impression of Jake doing a mandrill.
It is the best
Kevin
thing.
has to do an impression of Jake.
That's
Oh,
gotta close us out.
nothing,
Kevin has to do the impression of Jack.
nothing makes
Of
me
Jake.
laugh more than Jake doing the mandrill impression.
I would
So
enjoy
this is-
seeing that. I feel
this is
like
Jake.
people would enjoy.
This is Jake.
I'll tell you whether he got it.
This
Okay.
is Jake explaining to us in detail, like, what's about to happen. And these are never, like, you know.
But for context, we have a big scene with mandrills.
This is-
Yeah, I don't just do this.
Wild monkeys.
They're large monkeys.
Mandrills are the large wild monkeys
With purple butts.
that are violent that are in our movie. But you know, we've never seen a mandrill in real life, so we have no idea what these things do. So Jake had like some cutout cardboards of what the mandrill looked like. So he would break down, like he would talk to us, we'll be huddled up. And he's like, okay, so listen, the energy's a little low. You gotta remember, these mandrills are, they're coming and they're got teeth. But it was so, and I would just say, every time we do it, I'm like, last time, Drake, just show me the mandrill again. And it would take him a couple times. He would do it again, and then finally, like, all right, okay, Kevin, that's enough. Come on, let's get.
Did Kevin nail it?
Oh, man.
There's a lot of that out there. There's a
There
lot
was
of
so
pretending
much.
to be the animal.
She's making me laugh.
There must be some behind-the-scenes footage
I've got
of
some.
Jake's actual
But that
mandrill
big
The public
cut
needs
out,
to
though.
see this eventually.
I've got it.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. Jumanji: The Next Level in theaters, of course, December 13th. Thank you guys.
Thank you. See y'all later. December 13th. Facebook Live.
Bye, Facebook.
Hi guys, it's Debbie, and here's today's Daily Fact. In the Jumanji films, the characters encounter all sorts of creatures, but while filming Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, the cast actually had to deal with real-life animals and bugs, such as attacks by feral pigs and all sorts of biting insects. Gross. Remember to click below to subscribe, and if you like my shirt, you can also find that in the description.